My name is Chris Gire, and I am the Director of Finance and Accounting for a company called Waterline Renewal Technologies. We have two different plants, one in Florida, one in Illinois, and we sell cured in place pipe material to the plumbing industry as well as contractors and municipalities. I've been with the company for about 5 years, and I'm responsible for the financials and also just financial reporting. And over the course of the last 5 years, I've worked with your team to develop nice Power BI dashboards for a variety of purposes. So we have Power BI dashboards for pretty much most of our functions. So we have them for accounting, so that we can take a look at our cash flow and understand our cash position in terms of payables and receivables. We also have operations dashboards that take a look at our open orders, and our operations team uses them on a daily basis to understand what orders they can ship, what's on hold, where do we have inventory, and what can we partially ship. We have all of that information readily available on the dashboard so that they can filter down quickly and get their orders that they can ship for the day. And then on the sales side, which is where we started with our Power BI reporting, we have a variety of reports. We look at where we're at every day compared to budget for the month. So every day our top executives are waking up and they're looking at their sales dashboard to understand where we're at, what orders are needed on a daily basis, shippable orders that are going to help us get to our target each month. We also have dashboards for sales reps so that they can see where they're at in terms of performance, because they have targets that they have to hit for compensation. And we use it for a variety of purposes. So we're taking a look at where our sales are at by customer, by state, by territory. Along with that, we're also looking at our margins and, how are we trending, especially in an environment where you're starting to incur tariffs. Margins are becoming increasingly more important. So we also are trending those. So when I first arrived at Waterline Renewal Technologies, we didn't really have much in terms of reporting, and they had just recently gone through a system upgrade. So they had changed their ERP system. Additionally, we had companies that were on different ERP systems. So the data, we had historical data, we had new data, and we were dealing with business owners that were still trying to use the system. So we very quickly, we had a lot to do. As a finance team, we had a lot to do. When I first arrived, we were missing financial statements, in a consolidated fashion. So we really needed to get those built and really just make a more robust financial package. And then we also needed sales detail, not just for the financial team, but more for our sales department, so that they could really go after targets for the year. And really narrow down that reporting. So because we were on a very short time frame, we knew that we needed some assistance to help us put all of that data together and to quickly build out a data model for us. So that's really why we engaged the team, because we were on a short time frame and we knew we needed something quick, and we needed to make sure that it was going to be something sustainable over time. So reporting was really at each of our individual sites. We have 2 plants. We have 3 businesses, and so one of the plants has 2 businesses. At the time, it was actually 3. We had 3 different locations. We've since consolidated, but most of the reporting was done per site. So what would happen is reports would get generated at each individual site, and then they would get emailed to people, and then you had people that were consolidating them in Excel, which was not ideal. And sometimes mistakes get made, right? When the more touches that you have as data is getting transferred from one source to another, things happen. Somebody fat fingers something, copy paste doesn't work correctly. So there was just a lot of non-value added time that was getting spent. And so we knew very quickly, these are things that we're generating on a daily basis. This isn't something that we want somebody spending time consolidating. There's obviously better ways to do that. So it was clunky and it was risky because it was prone to errors. And so we needed it to be to work better, to be a lot more streamlined, and to be less risky. We needed to make sure that we had valid, reliable data every day that people could just rely on and not question. And we were just able to go down many more layers, right? We were able to get a more granular sense of, sales by item and by customer. And, we gave them the ability to really drill down and filter and do things that they weren't able to do previously. They were really just looking at numbers and they weren't really looking at that lower level of detail. So we were able to pretty quickly give them a much better picture of what that looked like. And it ranged from our executive team all the way down to, just individual sales reps and, and other users in the business. Yeah, I've been working with Al for almost five years probably. And the best part, I think, is Alp's ability to, and the team's ability to just ask really good questions, that we're not thinking about. So they're very tuned in to what it is they're thinking about, how this thing is going to get structured, so they know what to ask you when you're not necessarily thinking about those details, and really documenting that and getting all of that information right up front so that they're able to turn around a product pretty quickly. I can tell you that for certain we have time savings. We've made processes more efficient. In terms of what's the revenue impact because of reporting, that one's kind of tough to say. But I do know that it helps all of our team members stay focused and really take action on the items that are going to have the most impact. And the reason I feel very confident saying that is the fact that when we very first started this, I think user adoption, it takes a while for people to really understand the value. And now people regularly contact us when they need something. Hey, can you make a tweak to this? Can you help us, figure out a better way to do this? Because we're spending a lot of time on this. And we think that given that we're doing it all the time, we're doing it every day, you can help us make that better. It's been 5 years in the making, but now we have it spread throughout the organization, and our users, all of our users across functions, understand the value of the reporting and what it can do for them. I think even the best part is, I think when we first started out, people just didn't understand the value of the tool. So they didn't know what to ask for. And now the fact that they'll more proactively reach out because they understand that they can do things differently. So, I think it goes beyond the tool. I think it also helps change mindsets of people and continuing to improve their processes, which has been very valuable.